So you're thinking about moving to Denver, Colorado, and you have no idea where to start looking. Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you guys a complete breakdown as far as all of the major Denver neighborhoods, and then we're gonna go outside of Denver and hit all of the major Denver metro cities within about a 45-minute to an hour radius. On top of that, we're then gonna dive down into some of our and our clients' favorite neighborhoods and master plan communities within each one of these cities. Not only that, but we're gonna be going over pros and cons of each of the areas. We're gonna be covering the types of homes you can expect to find out there, and then what types of people are moving out to these communities. So when it comes down to the one video that you need to get the absolute best understanding of anything and everything Denver, Colorado, this is the one. So you guys may have noticed I don't have my charming and charismatic business partner, Will Grimes, with me today, who would normally be right here. So it feels a little lonely without him, but guys, we're gonna take a while today. And again, when I say we're doing a deep dive, we're doing a deep dive. So I'm gonna jump on the laptop here right behind me, and we're gonna take a look at everything you need to know about moving to Denver. So diving right into it, let's start with the one you guys are probably wondering about the most, Denver. I've got the MLS pulled up right here. That's what we're gonna be using for a lot of our navigating today, because what I wanna do, I wanna start off just showing you guys zoomed out from a broad spectrum. When we refer to the Denver, Colorado metro area, what the heck are we talking about? So let's start off zooming out right about here. This looks like a pretty good perspective here. So you guys are gonna see, as Will always talks about, we've got Denver right in the center of the clock. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw this radius out here with Denver right in the center, all right? Now, with some exception, this is going to be a good demonstration of what would be considered the Denver metro area. We've got Denver right here in the center. We've got a radius going out here of only about 30 miles. And if a lot of you guys are coming from, a big city, you'll realize 30 miles is not that much. However, this covers so much space here. And if we're looking at actual travel distance from Castle Rock down here at the bottom up to Denver, you're looking at probably about 35 minutes or so. All right. Now, if we're looking at Denver up to Longmont, here, we're probably looking at, and traffic can be definitely more intense on the north side of town. You're looking at probably about 45 minutes to an hour up here as well. And then out here, coming off Denver, we've got Boulder. For the Denver metro area, again, we've got our primary cities are going to be pretty much as far north as Longmont, all right? Out to Boulder, out to Golden here, which we have more on the west side, down to roughly Castle Rock, out here to Parker, Colorado, up here to Aurora on the east side. So from a bird's eye view, when we say metro area, those are the primary places that we're talking about. Now let's zoom in a little bit here and check out Denver specifically. So when we're looking at Denver as a whole, the first thing I want to show you guys is the ins and outs as far as our major highways, so that we can see really the primary places people are getting in and out of the city. Now up here, across the top, we've got I-70. Let me pop open my pencil here real quick. So we've got I-70, that is our primary east-west highway, okay? Now this is gonna cut across the very north side of Denver. Once you start passing I-70, this is a really good landmark for really considered really close to downtown Denver. As soon as you go north of I-70, you're officially North Denver. And honestly, you're out of it pretty quickly before you start getting up into Thornton and Westminster right here. So we've got I-70. Now I-70 is currently undergoing a massive expansion right now. So typically we would have really bad traffic between downtown Denver right here and out here in this North Aurora area. I-70 connects Denver and North Aurora. It also will continue to take you up here out to the airport. Okay. So traditionally this stretch right here had just been so bad for traffic. This is a part that they are now expanding, and already the traffic's gotten much better. But because I-70 is also our primary way to get out into the mountains, this is where, again, you'll have more traffic here coming out of Denver, coming up to the mountains, especially on Friday mornings and afternoons, and then coming back down from the mountains on Sunday. So always keep that in mind. So now that we hit our east-west highway, I-70, let's talk north-south. I-25 is going to be the primary north-south highway that we have here. And this is going to come down. It's going to loop around kind of the western edge of Denver. And then it is going to cut down here, kind of underlining Washington Park, which we'll cover in a little bit, and then cuts through DTC, Denver Tech Center, all the way down eventually to Castle Rock. So we've got these two primary highways right here. There's a couple of other honorable mentions, especially as we're looking for places to avoid for traffic. So 6th Avenue is going to be another major highway that runs east-west, pretty much from I-25 here all the way out to where it meets up with I-70. Okay, and then 6th Avenue actually does continue out into the mountains, but there's a lot of switchbacks. It's not a primary highway. It's good for a backup in case I-70 is super slammed, but there can be a lot of weather during the winter season here on 6th Avenue. These are the primary ins and outs that we're going to have here in Denver, guys. So keep in mind, Colorado traffic is not even going to be anything as close to what you might be facing in, a California or a Texas, a lot of places on the East Coast as well, Florida, but it will get pretty congested right here as we're starting to come into downtown, and then on your way out of downtown, there ends up being a lot of traffic right around here. Same on this I-70 portion, so always keep that in mind. I want to cut in here real quick to remind you guys that we are licensed real estate brokers and the #1 relocation team here in Denver. So the number that's popping up on the screen right now, take a screenshot so you can call us or text us or shoot us an email, and we'd love to help you with your real estate needs. All right, with that being said, let's get back to it. All right, so now that we got a little bit familiar with the highways, let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit, and we're going to talk neighborhoods and areas. Now, if you guys have watched any of our videos before, you know how big Denver is, our parks. There are parks almost on every single corner, which is awesome because we're such a dog-friendly city and community. That makes it easy for you guys to find, even if you don't have the biggest lot at a house you're living at downtown, it always makes it easy for you guys to find great places to go and exercise your dog and go and meet new people. A lot of these parks are going to have a lot of volleyball and just fun activities going on almost every single weekend. Wash Park is really, really popular for that. That's one reason, again, people love being outdoors in Colorado. Our weather here is amazing through all 4 seasons, and these parks are literally used all year long. All right, now the first part of Denver that I want to cover is this northwest section that's right here, and this might be my favorite part of Denver, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So what we're going to be looking at here, guys, is basically using West Colfax as our bottom border. Okay, so we're going to call it Colfax, just coming up where we've got West Highlands, and then we've got Berkeley just above that. We're going to cut over, stay under I-70. You've got Sunnyside just to the east of Berkeley, and we're going to cut that down. And then beneath Sunnyside, you've got Highlands or Lower Highlands or Low High. You guys know that's one of my favorite neighborhoods that we have out here, and this is a big reason why this whole pocket is one of my favorites, because what I love about this area, I would call this urban suburban living. And I call it urban suburban because it's very suburban in the sense of there's a lot of single family homes. There's a lot of townhomes and condos as well. There's beautiful yards, there's tree lined streets. But because you're so close to downtown Denver, where you're literally just across the highway from downtown Denver, you feel very much the hustle and bustle and speed that you have with kind of the downtown living without needing to live right in it. Again, it's from Lower Highlands. It's a, 8-minute walk, 5-minute walk across the bridge before you're in lower downtown. But up here, just, man, so many cute and cool homes and townhomes. And then what I love is that each one of these 4 or 5 preliminary neighborhoods, you've got Sloan's Lake down here as well, each has their own little downtown shopping strip that's full of mom and pop shops, little boutique shopping centers, great breweries and places for brunch. Each one of these neighborhoods has its own little character and little shopping centers and stuff. Regardless of where you're living in these areas, you typically don't need to go far for anything that you need. It's very bikeable. It's very walkable. You'll still want a car because it's Colorado, but this by far is one of my favorite pockets. Now, if I had to pick a neighborhood out of these 5, I'd probably pick Lower Highlands or Sloan's Lake. Sloan's Lake is absolutely gorgeous. It's a massive lake. Even if you're not living in Sloan's Lake, you're definitely going to be visiting here quite a bit for, again, taking your dog out, running around the lake, socializing with friends. I just think this is such a good, unique part of Denver that a lot of people really don't go and explore that much outside of the locals. All right, guys, now what we're going to do, we're going to jump across the highway and we are going to go into downtown Denver. So anytime you hear downtown Denver referenced, essentially they're going to be covering this portion on the east side border of I-25 all the way down to, let's go south of Colfax because this is where we're going to have Capitol Hill. So we're going to go south of there till about, let's call it about Alameda over here. All right, and then this is even going to cut up. This is going to stay fairly narrow. Right about here. And then I'd potentially even leave this part out because Cheeseman Park, this is just a really, really good suburban area, not downtown. If I was being really strict on downtown, I would say even cutting it off at this Colfax area, if we're being very specific to exactly what lower downtown is, it's going to be this area right here. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time on downtown Denver because frankly, not that many people move there. There's plenty of high-rise condos and things that a very specific type of buyer will be looking for. There are some gorgeous, luxurious places. We've sold a bunch of them, but again, it's a very specific type of buyer. What you will be using downtown Denver for, however, is date night and then art shows and brewery festivals and things like that. There's baseball games. There's always so much going on in downtown Denver that you're going to find yourself utilizing it quite a bit, even if you're not living there. So once you pass Colfax down south here, this is where we start getting more into that type of urban suburban vibe that I mentioned. Capitol Hill is where you're going to find a lot of young people that live and work downtown that primarily take maybe public transportation, want to walk or bike to work. It's a lot more densely populated there. There's a lot of apartments and stuff right there as well. You're not going to find a whole lot of single family homes. So we don't have a whole ton of people that are buying in Capitol Hill, but man, there's some amazing bookshops and coffee shops and good restaurants in Capitol Hill as well. So definitely some place that you're going to want to explore. But let's keep working our way down south and east here a little bit before moving out of Denver. All right, moving into one of our most popular neighborhood areas, we've got Washington Park. So what I want to do, I want to show you guys, again, just the primary ins and outs of this area. Washington Park, you've got two huge bodies of water. We've done plenty of videos on this. If you scroll back just a little bit in our channel, you'll be able to find those. Washington Park is by far one of our most popular neighborhoods that we have. It sits just north of I-25. So again, this is this little bend that I-25 takes, but this is our primary north-south highway here. And then here on the right-hand side, we've got Colorado Boulevard. This is also going to be a primary way that you get around town. And Wash Park sits just right here, kind of nestled in between those. So what I love about it is that there's very quick accessibility right off of I-25. If you live in Wash Park, you're coming up I-25 and you're usually getting off on University or you're getting off on Downing and driving straight up to your home. Okay, so very, very close to the highway, very easy to access and navigate. In Washington Park, guys, average home price is going to be pushing $2 million. You've got gorgeous homes out there. It does come at a premium price point. I got to tell you guys, it is absolutely worth it. When it comes to the historic Denver charm that you're probably seeking if you're looking to live in an area like this, Wash Park is pretty much the king and it does not disappoint. On top of that, all of the just fun activities that there are to do in this park, you're never going to be bored. There's never not going to be anything to do. There's never not going to be people to meet. The one thing that I would say about Wash Park that you should be aware of is that there's just not a whole lot of shopping and dining and like a little downtown strip. There's not some farmers market on the weekend, but you really don't have the date night spots like you may be looking for. There's a couple cool little like bar and grill places, maybe a little strip. So if you are looking to go out for a date night or a good family dinner, you're probably going to go either downtown or just up over here to Cherry Creek. Now, speaking of Cherry Creek, you've heard it before. This is our Beverly Hills of Denver. So we have, very, very exclusive shopping and dining. It's very pedestrian heavy. So right here at about First Avenue, you've got the Cherry Creek Mall right here, which is a really, really good mall. And it is nice having such a big shopping mall this close to downtown. That's a really, really good find. You're going to have a lot of high-end stores down there. Here on 1st and 2nd Street, more high-end shopping, more high-end dining. So there is so much to do here. It's also extremely walkable. Also very dog-friendly for as fancy of an area as it is. It's pretty cool. Homes around here also around that $2 million mark. Okay, so again, you're paying a premium to live there, but I don't know know if there's a better, more all-encompassing neighborhood than Cherry Creek when it comes to nice, new, modern, contemporary homes, or the classic Denver charm style of homes in conjunction with as much just high-end shopping and dining that they have there. Cherry Creek, one of my favorite spots. I don't know if it would win over the Highlands for me. Again, I kind of like young professional hipster vibe that Highlands offers, whereas Cherry Creek is just a lot more high-end luxury. I like them both, but for me personally, if I were looking for just a day-to-day great place to call home and have an awesome house, Lower Highlands would probably win for me, but I wouldn't mind living in Cherry Creek either. So it's a little bit of a toss-up, but ultimately I think Lower Highlands might win. But honestly, they are both great, completely different vibes. If you're tossing it up between the two, definitely check out both areas. Now there's one more area here in Denver that I want to show you. So here it's going to be South Park Hill. Now just to refresh your memory, we've got Colorado Boulevard that I just mentioned before, that big northwest road that runs right up here on the west side border of South Park Hill. All right. So what I love about South Park Hill is that, again, easy in and out. You've got I-70 up here. So there's a very good chance if you're coming from, the north or the east or west, you're taking I-70 over, and then you're coming down here and getting off into South Park Hill. Sorry, my arrow is really crappy there. You've also got Colfax as your primary in and out. And again, Colorado Boulevard right here from the south. So you've got highway access up here. It is a little bit far to get down to I-25, but again, very accessible. And the other thing that I love most about South Park Hill is that you're located so close to City Park. City Park is also where you're going to find the Denver Zoo, the Colorado Museum of Nature and Science, and just this massive park right here. So this is a very popular neighborhood for families because, man, as you're right here, I mean, you can literally push the stroller a few blocks to go to the zoo or the museum. It just overall, it's very quiet. Again, tree-lined streets. It's a highly, highly, highly desirable area for many reasons. You're going to find not a ton of new build contemporary style homes like you might find in Lower Highlands and some in Wash Park. These are going to be more of your traditional Denver bungalow or Tudor style homes. But again, that's what people love when they move out there. And not that you can't find any, homes that have maybe been torn down and rebuilt to be that contemporary style. Still plenty of those out there, but South Park Hill, one of the oldest and most charming Denver neighborhoods that you're going to find. All right, so let's go ahead and leave Denver now. We're going to head northwest about 35 minutes or so up to Boulder. Now, as we're heading out of Denver, we're going to jump on Highway 36 right here. That's going to take us all the way out of Denver, all the way up to Boulder. Now, as we're heading up Highway 36, we're going to pass by a few areas that I want to touch on. We're going to hit Broomfield, we're going to hit Superior, we're going to hit Louisville, and we're going to hit Lafayette. Now, Broomfield is going to be a fairly small city with a population of about 72,000, but you've got some major corporations there. You've got Vail Resorts that are there. You've got Ball Aerospace. You've actually had Noodles and Company headquarters are there as well, and it's continuing to grow. On top of that, they have a massive UC Health medical facility, which draws a lot of people to this area. So this is a really, really good spot because you've got excellent mountain views just about halfway to Boulder, and you've got some really, really good industries that are there. And this is an area that is continuing to grow. And fast forward 5 or 10 years, I think Broomfield is going to see a ton of growth and be a very, very hot spot for people. Now, this whole area right here, including Broomfield and these 3 cities, Superior, Louisville, and Lafayette, this is going to be a very desirable area if you're not quite wanting to pay Boulder prices, but you also maybe don't want to live down in Denver. If you're looking for something that is a good suburban vibe without the high cost of living like you're going to find up in Boulder, this whole spot right here is going to be an excellent bet for you. Looping in Superior, absolutely gorgeous town. Again, very small and quaint, and they're trying to keep it that way. One of the things Superior prides themselves on is having a lot of open space and trails. And again, you can't find a bad view of the mountains in any of these areas. But let's go ahead and keep heading up Highway 36 up into Boulder. Now, most of you guys watching this video have probably heard of Boulder. Boulder is one of those places in Colorado that I feel almost sits on its own little island because it has its own vibe, it has its own culture. And even though it's a college town, there is so much stuff there, whether you're living in Boulder or just going to visit it on the weekend, ton of stuff for you guys to do. Obviously, you're gonna have all the fun outdoor activities because Boulder is just nestled right up against the mountains. That means you're gonna have a little bit more weather up there come winter time, but it also means that you're gonna get to do all the fun activities that you get with living in a city just up against the mountains. Now, even though Boulder is a college town, it does not completely overrun Boulder. It's pretty much segmented to this immediate downtown area here. And all around the city of Boulder, you're going to find just amazing homes that are there with amazing views. I must say, with the higher cost of living, primarily from housing that you're going to find in Boulder, the people that go there, man, they say it's worth it and they cannot get enough of everything that Boulder has to offer. One of the most popular areas that we've featured here quite a bit is Pearl Street right here. So Pearl Street is going to run right here through downtown in this primary area right here. So Pearl Street is going to be a pedestrian only, really like outdoor shopping mall. So Pearl Street is a super fun spot for you to visit, whether you're driving up there as a tourist on the weekend or visiting as a local. There is so much good dining. Some of the best dining that you're going to find in probably all of Colorado is going to be there. And on top of that, just so much fun people watching and things to do there on the weekend. So whether you're visiting as a tourist or you live there, Pearl Street is going to be a great place for you to go visit. Now, one of the things that our clients love about Boulder, and that is a big draw for a lot of people there, is that you can so quickly come out of downtown, head 10 minutes up into the foothills here, and now you've got true mountain living just 10 minutes outside of downtown Boulder. And this is one of the most unique things about it, because anywhere else that you're looking to experience, mountain living per se, you've got to go 30 minutes outside of the next major city. Boulder, on the other hand, I mean, you're 8 minutes and it feels like you're really up in the mountains. You can sit very high up in the mountains here, but still be 8 minutes from downtown Boulder. So the best of both worlds here. Highly recommended if you're looking for true mountain living while being close to anything and everything you possibly want. The other thing about the entire city of Boulder is that it holds its property values extremely well, coming all the way back into the year 2000, as our markets have, rose up through 2008 and then crashed and then came back up and then stabilized like where we're at now. Boulder always has held its value, being such a nostalgic type of place that people want to live, and having the name Boulder of itself. Homes here do extremely well. Average price point is going to be about $2 million to get in here. But again, homes hold their value. They're gorgeous homes. You're going to see a ton of variety from mountain modern type of homes, as we'll call it, to ultra contemporary, to historic Boulder homes that have been there since the early 1900s. So you're really going to have it all. On top of that, Boulder has one of the #1 school districts in the entire Denver metro area. It's usually in first or second place. So when you're looking at the broad picture of some of the best schools that you can find in Colorado, homes that hold their property value, the absolute best, the extremely popular downtown area that you have, and the mountain living, Boulder checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. So again, even though this channel is called Living in Denver, we have quite a few people that end up moving to Boulder and calling it home. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we feature it here on this channel, because again, it is such a big draw for you guys. But like I was saying before, if you want to live near Boulder, have some of the similar views that Boulder has without paying Boulder prices, an area you're not going to want to overlook is this stretch on Highway 36 between Denver and Boulder. This, I believe, is one of the next biggest and upcoming areas that we're going to see over the next 10 years. Now, don't get me wrong, they're already established. These areas have already come up. But again, the more people that we have moving here, I think these areas are going to be a big draw for a lot of people. Also, just a heads up while we're on it, if you are driving up Highway 36 to Boulder, you will encounter some traffic. You do have a lot of commuters that are down in Denver driving to Boulder, vice versa. One good thing is that they do have HOV lane on here, and it is worth the extra couple of bucks that it takes because you can save yourself a ton of time. Also, there are police on this road. So if there's no traffic, as tempted as you may be to speed, don't get caught up in it. I always see cops on this road. So, all right, so now let's work our way down south, and we're going to group a couple other big cities together here. The ones I want to cover are going to be Lakewood and then Littleton. So the Lakewood border is going to be right here at about 6th Avenue on the north side. You've got 470 coming around down the west side here, right up against the foothills. And then we're going to cut down right about here to encompass Littleton. And then I-25 is going to be our eastern border here. And let's cover these. So Lakewood, I've broken up into about two different parts. You've got East Lakewood here. You've got West Lakewood here. Now, East Lakewood here, because it butts right up to Denver, this is going to be more populated, more commercial, all right? Especially here along 6th Avenue. It is very industrial right here. Like literally, there's a lot of factories and warehouses and stuff like that. So we don't see a whole ton of people end up on this east side. However, once you start passing into the west side here, the closer and closer we get to the foothills, this is really where the lots start to open up and expand. There's a lot more open space that's out here, and you do have some really, really good views of the mountains. And as you guys could see, just in general, once we start getting down to kind of this southwest corner, you start to see all of these big lakes and bodies of water pop up, which are always a big draw for people in Colorado because we don't have a ton of bodies of water, but right around this area, this is really where they start to pop up. So if you're looking for good boating or just outdoor life, you're definitely going to want to come and check these areas out. Now, coming down here a little bit more into Littleton. So Littleton is a very popular area that we have out here. What I would say is one of the biggest draws that we have in Littleton is going to be the downtown Main Street. So Main Street is going to be just right here, right off of the major highway. And although it's a fairly short Main Street, there's a ton to do here. Now, again, in classic Colorado form, this historic Old Town Littleton Main Street area is a big draw, much like you have in Golden, much like you have in Boulder. Now, the other cool part about Littleton is this light rail station right here. Now, you've probably heard me mention before, but as far as our mass transit goes in Denver, we don't have a really, really robust system. So it's always a big draw when you can find a city that has a light rail stop in it. Even if it's something that you're not going to be utilizing from a resale value perspective, it's always a good choice. So if you're living in Littleton and want to utilize something like this, you're going to park your car here at the downtown Littleton station. That light rail station is going to take you all the way to downtown Denver for any games that you're going to. It can take you all the way out to the airport. So that is a really, really good benefit to living in the area. Or if you're in the surrounding area, of course, you can also utilize it as well. Now, a lot of the neighborhoods that you're going to find out here in Littleton are already very established. I would say a lot of the homes that are out there were built sometime between the 50s and 70s. So you're going to find a lot of those that have been completely remodeled and updated with all new mechanics, plumbing, everything like that that you're going to be looking for. And that is a very specific type of home that you're going to find out there that a lot of people absolutely love because they all look different. None of the homes look the same. And ultimately, it just adds to the historic Littleton vibe that you're going to find. On top of that, similar to Boulder, Littleton has some of the absolute best schools in Colorado. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, the Boulder School District gets a lot of notoriety. Cherry Creek School District gets a lot of notoriety. Littleton is the one that, unless you're really looking it up, people don't understand how good the schools are there. Now, if you're living in Littleton, this Highway 285, otherwise known as Hamden, is going to be a popular route that you're going to take. Now, this is a fairly narrow road. It does get very congested. There's a lot of commercial that is right off the road. So you're kind of battling a lot of that sort of commercial traffic as well. However, another great alternative for you guys, depending on where you're coming from, is going to be E470 right here. All right, now 470 on the south side goes east and west all the way out to the airport if you keep going east here. Now, this is a toll road, okay? But again, it is worth the added expense because you're going to save so much time. Now, 470 hits the south side border here. This actually cuts right through Highlands Ranch, another very popular area that we have out here. But then once it gets on the west side here, it doesn't keep going into the mountains. It curves up north and will eventually take you all the way up to I-70 where you can then head straight out into the mountains. We have a lot of clients that are moving here where they want to visit the mountains on a regular basis. Littleton and Highlands Ranch ends up being a great option for them because you're just that much further west and that much further north that, hey, jumping on 470, it's a quick trip out in the mountains. So if you're truly going to go ski on a regular basis, or potentially you've got another home up in the mountains and you're really going to be using it on a weekly or at least getting up there a couple times a month, this is actually going to save yourself a lot of time. Now, if you're not going to be going to the mountains every week or at least a couple times a month, Maybe you don't need to live this close to the foothills because yes, home prices do start going up. The closer you get to the foothills, I kind of look at like being, close to the ocean in California or Florida or something. This is more towards the shore, if you will. Home prices just get more expensive out there. So if you're not going to be going up on a regular basis, yeah, maybe it makes more sense to try a Castle Rock or a Parker. Yes, it'll be an extra 20 minutes on your drive or so, which might not be that big of a deal to you. But man, I got to say, the views when you're living this close to the mountain, it does make a difference. You still see them anywhere in Colorado. They are the Rocky Mountains. They're big enough that you can see them. But once you really start getting to the west side here, whether that's west side Littleton or west side Lakewood up here near Green Mountain, yeah, the views get really, really good. Now, before we get out of this area, I want to touch on Greenwood Village, Cherry Hills, and really Denver Tech Center. So we're going to touch on these three here. So Denver Tech Center, this circle right here, otherwise known as DTC. This is almost like a mini Denver. It's very corporate. You're going to see your high-rise corporate buildings that are going to be here. You're going to have a few steakhouses and a few other really good restaurants. You're going to have a lot of apartments and condos. Again, when I say it's a little Denver, you do have that kind of hustle and bustle. You will get quite a bit of traffic here on 225. You'll also get a slowdown here on I-25 because this is such a major center of commerce. Come rush hour in the morning, rush hour in the evening, there's quite a bit of activity that is going on here. Now, if we cross over just right here into Greenwood Village or up here into Cherry Hills, this is where you're going to find a lot of what I would say, kind of the older, I don't want to use the word mansion, but you're going to find a lot of gated communities. You're going to find a lot of really big homes. You're going to find a lot of really big lots. A lot of these are older though, just a heads up. Most of them have been updated and remodeled, but man, you have some gorgeous lots out here. You have some absolutely gorgeous parks. You have some stunning homes. This has been a very high-end area of Denver for a very, very, very long time. I would say demographically, you're going to have a slightly older demographic here in Greenwood Village and Cherry Hills. There are still quite a bit of young families and kids, but this is, one of the few places that I think in the Denver metro area where you do start to see it maybe being a little bit of a slower type of area, a little bit older type of community. But again, that just kind of naturally happens. Once you get homes that are spaced out a little bit further, especially if it's located in a gated community, it's kind of why people move there because they want a little bit slower pace. So if you guys are looking for high-end quality homes with big lots, plenty of space, while being extremely close to Denver Tech Center, this is for sure an area we need to explore for you. All right, so now we're going to cut down just a little bit south and we are going to talk about Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree. So here we've got Highlands Ranch right here, and then we're also going to have Lone Tree, which is fairly small right here. Now, there are a lot of addresses that kind of overlap. There's homes that I've been to in Highlands Ranch that have a Lone Tree address, and then I've been clearly in Lone Tree that have a Highlands Ranch address. So there's a lot of crossover that happens here, but they're two very different areas. When I say Lone Tree, I'm also including this area called Park Meadows right up here. So Park Meadows is one of the biggest shopping centers that we have. This is where you're going to find your big traditional mall, but then right outside the mall are so many good restaurants and other kind of stores that are surrounding this area. But this is all very, very commercial. You're not going to find really hardly any residences out of here. The residences are going to start popping up once you pop in this Acres Green area, Heritage Hills, and then here in this West Lone Tree area. Now, another thing worth noting here in Park Meadows is right here off of Ridgegate Parkway. We are going to have Skyridge Medical Center. Huge, huge, huge medical campus. We've got a ton of nurses and doctors that are our clients. So a lot of people are very interested in this area or a little bit south into Castle Pines or Castle Rock, which I'll show you here in just a moment. But what you're also going to have here is the Charles Schwab campus. Again, another big draw for a lot of our clients that are coming here. So what that means, guys, you've got a lot of finance people, you've got a lot of medical staff that are living in this immediate area. So you're not going to find homes with a ton of outdoor maintenance. You're going to find some amazing homes out here that are anywhere from 1 to about 3 million and plus a little bit, but usually very small lots. And again, most people that are moving here, they love the homes that are out here. They also love the low maintenance aspect of not having a big yard. So if that's something interesting to you, we should definitely explore this area. But whether you're living in Lone Tree or Highlands Ranch, or really anywhere within the 30-minute radius, you're gonna find yourself coming to Park Meadows all of the time because there is so much to do there. We even have people coming up from Colorado Springs just to go to Park Meadows Mall on a regular basis because really it's the biggest and closest mall for a lot of people. On top of that, like I pointed out before, you've got 470 that runs right through it. So it's easily accessible to a lot of people regardless of where you're coming from. Now, let's zoom in a little bit here on Highlands Ranch because, again, this is one of the oldest and most popular neighborhoods that we have here in the Denver metro area. So Highlands Ranch is going to be composed of about this shape right here. It actually goes north of 470, but I'm still going to keep 470 as our border here. I'm going to go ahead and include Chatfield Reservoir in there as well. So Highlands Ranch is composed of these primary different sections where we have North Ridge, West Ridge, South Ridge. This is going to be one of the most highly suburbanized, if that's a word, part of Colorado in the sense of, all of these communities that are built here, there are just homes for days. Now, some of these are going to be slightly older, some of these are going to be slightly newer, but with Highlands Ranch being just one of the more established neighborhoods that's out here and it's been here for a very, very long time, a lot of the homes were built in the 1990s. So it's not uncommon if you're going in to purchase a home, either it has already been updated and remodeled, not necessarily like the ones in Littleton that were the 70s where it's a complete gut and then they come in and do, modern appliances, inner working mechanics of the homes and things like that. But more just design qualities here. A lot of these homes, they kind of feel like they were built in the 90s. So the ones that have been updated, they've kind of taken that 90s. They've tried to improve upon that kind of 90s feel about them. But don't get me wrong, there are some absolutely stunning homes here in Highlands Ranch. One of our absolute favorite areas is called Backcountry. So Backcountry is going to be right down here under Wildcat Reserve Parkway. Backcountry is going to be right about, let's say right here. Yeah, like this whole thing right here is going to be Backcountry. So it is a gated community, but what I absolutely love about Backcountry is how high it actually sits compared to the rest of Highlands Ranch, especially as you're getting back here near the clubhouse on Sundial Rim right here. You have some absolutely stunning sunset views as you are overlooking the mountains. And the homes out here, they have a very mountain modern sort of feel. I would say the standard backcountry home is anywhere from 1 to 1.5 million. But then as you get up to some of the highest parts of backcountry, which is going to be right about here on the southwest corner, this is the highest. It's also on the west. You have the best views. There are some custom lots up there, and homes can go for 4, 5, 6 million up there. Now, backcountry is full. They're not really developing up there anymore, minus some of these custom homes that they have. So supply and demand is definitely a factor. In fact, funny story, the last 4 homes that we purchased for our clients out in backcountry, the people who were selling the homes were also moving within backcountry. The last 4 in a row, as we're talking to real estate agents, the sellers weren't ever leaving backcountry. Once they were in there, they were just kind of upsizing or maybe downsizing their home based on their situation, but they didn't want to leave. So if I had to pick a spot personally, or I wanted to live in Highlands Ranch, I'm a sucker for backcountry. I love everything about it. So if you're looking for good communities, some gorgeous homes, a very, very good sense of community within your neighborhood, this is such a good choice. All right, now there's 3 primary areas that we still have left to cover. Now we're really getting into the meat and potatoes now, because is that a lot of you guys, when you're moving here, you're either able to work remotely or just have to be in the office a couple days a week, which means you can pretty much pick any city in the entire Denver metro area. But what we find is that the majority of our clients end up honing in on this South Denver metro side, which is what we're going to dive into right here. You guys will find, as I'm kind of giving you the description of, these different areas, why a lot of you guys end up calling these places homes, because it really is such a good blend of the best qualities of a lot of the other places that we talked about, all mixed into one. And what am I talking about? I'm talking Castle Rock and Castle Pines. All right, so as we are heading out of Highlands Ranch, what we're going to do is we are going to jump on I-25. We're going to head straight south, just about 8 to 10 minutes, not very far at all. And the first place we're going to encounter is Castle Pines right here. Now, Castle Pines, I consider like the little cousin to Castle Rock, even though it is more established. There are, more mature trees, yards, neighborhood landscaping right here. It is its own city. However, with it being located just immediately north of Castle Rock right here, they're pretty much one and the same. So whenever we're talking to our clients who are interested in moving to Castle Rock, we're always making sure that we put Castle Pines on the home search as well. Castle Pines is going to have really, really good schools, and it is, more or less a golf community. There's a golf course that runs through it, but Castle Pines doesn't feel like your traditional golf community. If anything, it just adds more to the beautiful landscape that they have out there and open space, but by no means is it, an uppity, haunchy golf community or anything like that. Now, what Castle Pines doesn't have is a lot of commercial. So if you're living in Castle Pines, what you'll be doing is you'll just be heading right down I-25, and you're going to be using all the Castle Rock amenities that they have. Castle Rock being one of our absolute favorite places. That's where our actual office is located, and it's for a good reason. Some of the top things that I love about Castle Rock is the gorgeous landscaping and the sense of nature that comes into Castle Rock. This is unique because all these other places that I just mentioned up here, you can sit close to the foothills, but you don't really have a lot of nature that comes into the immediate city where you're at. You've kind of got to go to the mountains or go to hike. You've pretty much got to go into the foothills to experience those things. But what's so unique about Castle Rock is once you come down the highway here and you start coming into Castle Rock, more of the foothills starts coming into the city. So you can see here, obviously throughout Castle Pines and then throughout Castle Rock, you have so many bluffs and foothills and things that come into the actual city that you don't need to go anywhere to really enjoy the Colorado landscape. And when you take that combined with the affordability of homes within Castle Rock, man, that's a combination that is extremely hard to beat. So in addition to the nature and everything else like that in Castle Rock, one of the biggest draws for a lot of people down here is all of the shopping that's available. So what you're going to have right here, right off the highway, is the outlet. It's a huge outdoor shopping center, all the outlets that you could imagine, and it is a very, very big draw for a lot of people on the weekends. Again, you'll see a lot of people locally come and visit this area that aren't necessarily from Castle Rock, so that means a lot of traffic on the weekends. But frankly, if you're living in Castle Rock, you can go explore those things at any time. Little extra weekend traffic might not be the worst thing. Also within this outlet area, you're going to have a Whole Foods, you're going to have a 24-hour fitness, you're going to have a brand new organic King Soopers. King Soopers is like our version of Kroger or Albertsons out here. When it comes to just in-town amenities, new developments and things like that, Castle Rock absolutely crushes. And then what's also cool about Castle Rock is similar to what I just mentioned about the downtown in Golden, the downtown that you have in Littleton, you have the historic downtown Castle Rock area, which is going to be right along this Wilcox and Perry Street. Is going to be your historic downtown area. Now, within the past 5 years or so, they've done so much new developing within this area. So you're going to have some new condos and townhomes. You're going to have so many new restaurants. You're still going to have the historic downtown feel with a good blend of new restaurants, new condos, things like that. That's why I love this area. There's always so much going on here as well within the community. And this is one of the things that I would say Castle Rock does such a good job at is the weekend activities, the farmers markets, the movie nights at the parks. You've got Philip S. Miller Park, which we featured quite a bit, located just out here by the Meadows neighborhood, right around here. Philip S. Miller is a massive park. It can be full of people and still have plenty of room. You've got a really cool obstacle course out there and some zip lines. So there is never, ever any lack of activities for your families to do in Castle Rock. In Castle Rock, you're going to find a lot of new builds, a lot of master plan communities like the Meadows that you've got right here. You've got Terrain over here more on the east side. As you continue to go south on I-25, You're going to have Crystal Valley, and then you're also going to have Montaigne, which we just recently did a feature on. When it comes to master plan communities, Montaigne is such a cool one to go into. You're going to have Toll Brothers new build homes out there, which Toll Brothers are one of our biggest and best big builders that we have out here. They're the primary builder here in Montaigne. We're showing you some of an inside look at some of the homes right now. You're going to have top tier construction, top tier design, smaller lots out here because they are just those master plan communities. They tend to take as many homes as they can, the developer does, and put them on a certain size lot. So you're not going to have extremely small yards like you might have in some other areas, but they're going to be on the smaller side. I would also say that in Colorado in general, if you're trying to look for about an acre or above, you're really going to have to look on kind of the outskirts of the Castle Rock area, or even out here into Franktown, even Elizabeth, where I live, which we're not necessarily going to cover today. We are going to do a whole video on Elizabeth in the future because there's a lot happening out here also. But just in general, for the entire Denver metro area, if you're looking for acreage, you are definitely going to want to be on the outskirts, somewhere around here. It's not easy to find a home on an acre plus within the Denver metro area. You can definitely find them in Castle Rock, in Castle Pines, and on the south side here. So keep that in mind. If you guys are coming from somewhere and you're wanting to come to Colorado to really get some space, it's not going to be in the middle of town. You're going to want to be on the outside here a little bit. But this is also one of the best things about Colorado because, as I mentioned before, the entire Denver metro area is, all within here. I mean, this is no more than an hour and a half complete radius from the complete south side of the metro area to the complete north side. So if you're driving an hour and a half in California, you're probably not going very far, right? With traffic and stuff like that, you're not covering a ton of ground. In Colorado, you are. So even if you want fairly close proximity to the airport or something like that up here, you can still live in Castle Rock and you're going to be within 40 minutes of the airport, 45 minutes of the airport. So that's one of the absolute best things, is that don't think that because Castle Rock looks far south on a map, you can cover a ton of ground here with our highways and just how little traffic we actually do have. Now, coming out of Castle Rock, I want to touch on Parker and then Southeast Aurora right here. These are our other two most popular areas that our clients will want to call home. Now, I used to live in Parker for a long time. Parker is going to be, I would say, similar to Highlands Ranch, but less commercially developed. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to have every single thing in Parker that you could possibly need, your Walmarts, your Targets, your typical chains. There's a ton of stuff like that out there. But if you're really wanting a good date night restaurant, if you're looking for some really fun activities to do with the kids outside of just going to a normal park, you're probably going to find yourself either going up here to Southeast Aurora or coming down here into Castle Rock. Now, in Parker, you're going to find a blend of some older communities like Canterbury over here, mixed with some brand new communities that you're going to have here over in this Newland Meadows, Auburn Hills, even Stonegate right here. You're going to find much more new build homes that you're going to have. If we come down here into this Dove Valley area, which is going to be right about here, this is actually where the Broncos training center is. So if you're a sports fan, you can come here, you can watch their live trainings and stuff. They do allow spectators in there. So it's a pretty cool facility that if you're in the area, you're into the Broncos, you should definitely go check out. Parker does have a downtown Main Street area, but I will say it's not quite as impressive as some of the others that I mentioned. So that's going to be more down here, really in the heart of Parker and the Main Street area. Again, worth checking out if you're in town or if you live in Parker. It's going to be right here from, let's see, so here's Parker Road running north and south. This is your primary north-south road here in Parker. It's also known as Highway 83. And then fun fact, Highway 83, if you keep going south on here, will actually take you all the way down to Colorado Springs. So it's a really good alternative if you're wanting to go down to Colorado Springs, but not necessarily have to fight I-25 traffic. You can just take Highway 83. It's an absolute gorgeous drive. Once you get on the south side here, you start passing through this Black Forest area. And then this is North Colorado Springs. And this whole drive is absolutely stunning. So I definitely recommend you take it if you're needing to travel from Parker or anywhere up north down to the Springs. Let's talk one of my favorite parts of Parker. And that is going to be this little community here called the Pinery. So when I first moved to Colorado in about 2001, right about 2001, I moved here with my family. We ended up living here in the Pinery. So when I was in high school, I used to run amok in the Pinery, get into all sorts of trouble out here. But what I love about the Pinery is that it is quite literally this little oasis of Colorado living within a very concrete, typical suburban area. You know, zooming out here, if you look, you see all this tan right here. This is all homes, open space, open prairie that might be a little bit dry in the summer. But once you get into the Pinery, it's named perfectly because this is full of pine trees. The roads are twisty, turny. It feels like mountain living within suburban Parker. You've got deer that are going to be everywhere. You've got this lake right here, which is about exactly 1 mile around. I used to go and jog this all the time or take the dogs out here. There's a little park nearby here for kiddos. You can go and fish on this lake. When I say an oasis within Parker, I literally mean it. It almost feels like you are living in the mountains or foothills when you're really just in this little pocket neighborhood. Now, on the north side of the Pinery here, this is going to be the older Pinery. You're going to have a lot of homes that were built in the 70s and 80s. A lot of them have been updated, remodeled. You're going to have bigger lot sizes out here. It's not the cookie cutter sort of feel that you're going to feel in maybe some Castle Rock neighborhoods. There are some very unique homes that are in this area. And then once you get on the south side here of the Pinery, this is also called the Timbers. This is where you're going to find more newer style of homes, a little bit fancier style of homes as compared to the North Pinery area. And it is absolutely gorgeous. Cannot say enough good things about the Pinery. And a lot of people don't know about it. It kind of gets wrapped up just in Parker, the Parker bubble. But the Pinery is unlike any other neighborhood, in my opinion, that you're going to be able to find in a 40-minute radius of here. So I'm a big fan of the Pinery, as you guys can tell. And as you're looking at some of this footage that we're showing you, it's absolutely stunning. Can't recommend the Pinery enough. Now, one other community that is worth mentioning here in Parker is going to be Pradera. So Pradera is a golf community, but again, in true typical to Colorado form, you're not going to have this big uppity feel that you might think would be associated with other golf communities. It's just a Colorado thing as a whole. People here are just more chill and relaxed. You know, when you go into these sort of communities, Backcountry would be another similar one. Castle Pines would be another similar one. Maybe you've got people here that have their Maserati or their McLaren or their Lamborghini or something, but it's going to be parked in the garage for the most part, minus the occasional weekend drive or something like that. What most people are going to flaunt would be their lifted Jeep or their truck. That is just the Colorado thing. Again, we have the nice things out here like the fancy cars and stuff, but it's not going to be like Miami where everyone is trying to show that off. Again, people are more proud of their Jeeps and their trucks than maybe they are of the McLaren parked in the garage. So just kind of a funny thing worth noting, but that is just Colorado culture right there. It really is. That's the vibe people have out here. Actually, when I was just out of high school, I was bartending at Pradera Country Club and got really familiar with the type of people that are out there. It is extremely family focused. People there like to have fun. They have movie nights for the families outside. You can have weddings here. They do Easter egg hunts. So this is a really, really good spot for checking a lot of boxes for you. Now, Pradera is done as a development, right? The homes that are there, the homes that are there. However, there are a few select lots right up in this area where there are still some custom and semi-custom homes that are going up that are absolutely gorgeous. Now, if you are in Pradera, chances are you're either going to Parker for everything that you need, or you're going down into Castle Rock because you're almost right in the middle of it all. So if you've got Pradera right here, you're either jumping up Parker Road to get into the heart of Parker, or you're coming down using a road called Crowfoot Valley that's going to come down. It's going to take you right into Castle Rock. So if you're in Pradera, you're almost split halfway between Parker. Technically, it's a Parker address, but you're split halfway between the downtown Parker and then downtown Castle Rock. So what you'll most likely end up doing if you're in Pradera here is either going up Highway 83 into downtown Parker, or coming out here on Pradera Parkway and cutting down into Crowfoot Valley, which is then going to land you right here in the heart of Castle Rock, where you have all the outlets and everything like that that you're going to need. So this is a really good blend. If you can't decide between Parker or Castle Rock, Pradera is going to be a really good choice. Now, jumping up to our final area we're going to talk about, that's going to be Southeast Aurora. Let me give you the complete breakdown. So Aurora is the third largest city. We've got Denver being first, Colorado Springs being second, Aurora being the third. And Aurora, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you're looking at the actual footprint of Aurora, it is all the way up here, actually goes north of Denver. We're gonna cut down right about here, over here, and then it's actually gonna come down all the way to the very north side of Parker. We're gonna loop around here, around Aurora Reservoir, and then come back up. If you take this footprint of Aurora, if I were to lift this up and then bring it over to the west side of I-25, the whole footprint takes up about 10 to 11 major cities here, all right? So I wanna point this out because you would never compare a Highlands Ranch to a Wheat Ridge or Edgewater or Lakewood. People would tell you, what are you talking about? Those are 45 minutes apart. Like, you can't even compare those. Aurora is the same way, except it's all called Aurora. So it can be a little confusing for people. Aurora is broken up into North Aurora, right here. Sorry for my handwriting. We've got Central Aurora right about here. I'll say Central. And then this is going to be South Aurora. We can even break this up a little bit more and call this Southeast Aurora right here. And then, I mean, honestly, we can even add a fourth now because they're really starting to grow out and expand this East Aurora side, even here north of I-70. And this is called Aurora Highlands or East Aurora. All of this right now is pretty much open landscape. So developers are coming in and they're starting to build a ton of homes out here. We're really in the early stages of development. So it's not a whole ton out there quite yet, but this is going to be probably the next biggest build that we have here because all of Colorado, we're really not developed here on the east side. So there is so much opportunity out there for more homes. And if any of you guys have ever landed at DIA or airport, as soon as you land, all you see is open space. So this always kind of makes us laugh when we're talking to locals that have been here for, their whole lives or natives, where they say Colorado's full. Colorado's definitely not full. There is so much room to grow and expand out here. We're not even a fraction of what ultimately I think we're going to be. But let's hone in on this southeast section here because again, this just ends up being such a big draw for a lot of people. Now, as I mentioned before, when I lived in Parker, if we were looking to do some shopping or just go somewhere fun with the family for the weekend, we were coming up from Parker, coming out 470. So coming up Parker, jumping on 470 right here and coming out here, this Southlands area. All right, now Southlands, and that's going to be right about here. It's a big outdoor shopping mall. They've got a movie theater. They've got ice rinks in the winter. They've got summer concerts in the summer. There's just so much stuff going on here. It's very well commercially developed, and I absolutely love it for that reason. What you're also going to find out here are a lot of new build communities. Here is Talon's Reach right here. We've got Heritage Eagle Bend, which a good chunk of Heritage, if not the majority of it, is 55 and up, one of the active adult type of communities. You do have a really nice little golf course here. And then you've got a couple other predominant neighborhoods that are out here. A couple of the most popular neighborhoods being Talon's Reach, and then coming over here into South Shore, right here, and then down south here into Blackstone Country Club. Blackstone, also a golf community, very similar vibes, I would say, as Pradera. So if you're looking to be closer to the reservoir or just closer to the airport in general, but you like maybe the Pradera Golf Country Club vibe, Blackstone is going to be a good choice for you. Now let's go into South Shore a little more specifically, because this is just one very unique area that we have here because we have the Aurora Reservoir. Now this is a massive body of water, but they don't allow any motorized boats on it. However, you can paddleboard, you can paddle boat. They even have this little beach down here, and you don't need to be a resident of South Shore to go and enjoy the lake out here. Anyone and everybody can come by. However, because I think it might be a little bit of a hidden gem, a lot of people don't really know about it unless you're living in the area. So it does tend to be just more focused on the locals. So the homes that are surrounding this area, a lot of these are going to be more Toll Brothers homes, like I mentioned before, in Castle Rock. Many of them are going to have phenomenal views of the lake. And again, these are just gorgeous homes out here. It's a highly desirable area. And this whole Southeast Aurora area area is going to be Cherry Creek School District. Don't get this confused with Cherry Creek North that is located in downtown Denver. A lot of people think that's the same school district. It's not. Cherry Creek North is on Denver County Schools. Southeast Aurora is on Cherry Creek School District. So this is always in the top 3 to 5 as far as our best schools. It's always a major draw out here. This school district is also very much known for their sports. So we have a lot of clients that have, kids that are competitive baseball players or swimmers or volleyball, and a lot of them will choose the Southeast Aurora area specifically for those reasons. Now, also within this neighborhood, you're going to have so many trails, so much open space. So even though this is one of the furthest east developments that you're going to find, at least currently, you're still going to have mountain views. Again, you're further away from the mountains, but like I said before, they are the Rocky Mountains, so you're still going to see them. So you're going to find a lot of young families that are out here, and people move out here because they like the slower pace. They like newer build homes with newer design qualities and all of the activities that there are to do around the Aurora Reservoir. For me personally, it's hard to beat. I love being able to go to the mountains when I want. I love being able to go downtown when I want. But for my day-to-day life, I prefer just slower, suburban, good sense of community, and newer homes at a more affordable price point. And that is exactly why Southeast Aurora continues to be such a big draw for people. Now, the South Shore neighborhood specifically, they're just about done. This has been, maybe a 15, 20-year build or so. So there's not a whole ton of new builds that are still happening out there. But a lot of the homes that you're going to find on resale are really the best of both worlds. It's a home that's been built within the last 5 years, so you still get all of the new designs. Chances are it's only had 1, maybe 2 owners max. And then if you're moving in buying one of the resales around here, you're able to get all the benefits of having a new build home minus any of the headaches of having to go through a year-long build process. And my personal favorite thing about finding a home that's, within a 3-year build is that someone has taken kind of the blank slate that a new build home is, and then they've done all the custom things to it that really make it feel truly from a house to a home, meaning your custom light fixtures that are going in, just the custom wall decor, accent walls, things like that really bring out the true character in a home. So me personally, I love new build style homes, but if I were buying one today, I would try and find one that's had an owner in it, for the last couple of years that I could then come in and you've already got a brand new home, but it just has all the other stuff that you would want to do with it already done. So I appreciate you guys hanging in here with me on this longer form video, but what we really wanted to do was just take some time and give you guys the complete breakdown as far as anywhere that you could possibly live within the Denver metro area and help you guys, like I said before, really narrow down where you're looking to live. It's just as important to find out what's not going to work for you as it is finding out what is going to work for you. So if there's one video that you guys need or can come back and reference, save this video, bookmark it, whatever you need to do as you are exploring all the potential different cities that could potentially work for you and your family. This video is going to be a great reference for you. Also, guys, when you call or text or email the number below and book a Zoom call with us, this is one of the first things that we're going to do. We're going to book a Zoom call with you, take 30 minutes. We're going to find out your wants, your needs, and then, hey, if there's any cities that are potentially interesting to you, I want to know why those cities are interesting to you. And then I'm going to give you some of my recommendations as far as some other potential areas that you should be looking at. So whether you guys are looking to move a month from now or a year from now, call that number, book a Zoom call with us, because we can really help get you dialed in so that regardless of how much time it's going to take, you're prepared on your research going forward. If this video is helpful for you guys, leave a comment below. I'm always curious when we're doing these longer form videos, if people are going to stay and stick around and watch, if you find that they're beneficial. The map tours that we've done before, we've gotten some really good feedback on. So we wanted to do more types of videos like this. So if you find this helpful, leave a comment. Appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll see you next time.